What a week it's been in property. Let's talk about it. Friday Frenzy.
I'm the ringleader, so listen up.
Good morning. Good morning, guys. Good morning, Mr. Novak.
Hi, Elise. Haven't seen you in a long time.
I know. Oh, what a week, Mark. What a week. We've been sitting back on our lounge watching areas like Lismore and Mullumbimby and just going, God, those poor guys, hey? It's awful. What can we do for them? And then there we were right in the middle of it ourselves on the northern beaches. Massive floods. What a week. What a week. And guys, we have been right at the we've been right at ground zero with it, haven't we, Mark? With our property managers just getting absolutely hammered with all the floods that have taken place on the northern beaches.
Incredible. And what more? Like, how much can people take? Like, from there was fires, there was storms and floods before, and winds and COVID and then COVID and then COVID and then lockdowns, and it's like, how much can it's a really
It's like something out of the Bible, isn't it? Plagues, locusts, floods, fires. It's just been crazy. Got your floaties on. You know what, Jonathan? I'll tell you something. I was coming down Pittwater Road and it was bucketing down. I was trying to cross Pittwater Road to get to another appraisal, literally across Pittwater Road, and I couldn't. And I was like, wow, this is really bad. I can't believe it was like a river rapid coming down Pittwater Road.
It was a river.
So it was.
Yep.
So figured I was going to turn left and go down Oaks Avenue, and I have a car that's very low to the ground, and it started just literally floating through the water. I lost traction on the road, and look over to my right, and there's a car with no one in it floating past me, and a red wheelie bin. And I was like, "Oh, this is bad. I better get to higher ground. I better get back to the office." But it's been absolutely horrendous.
When you watch that on television, you think to yourself, oh, like, how can someone do that? Like, how can they get themselves into that predicament? How can they be in the car in that? But it almost draws you in or sucks you in, and you don't expect to be in that situation that you're in. It gets sort of deeper. You make a knee-jerk decision. I was surprised how many people decided to get in their cars. We even had employees from the office that I was saying, like, why are you going to even get in your car to go home? Because, it's, what are you going to do? Matt, because because I was sitting in traffic just trying to get in a distance that takes me 3 minutes, it took me 2.5 hours. So it's just gridlock.
Look, it's been absolutely crazy. Northern Beaches got hammered, absolutely hammered, and so are our property managers. So hats off to those girls and guys. I was speaking with Angie, one of our senior property managers, last night, and one of the things that she'd mentioned, Mark, to me was just how few tenants had home and contents insurance. And I don't know how many people are aware, but if you're a tenant, a landlord does not pay your home and content insurance. Building insurance, something different, but not home and contents. So I think, if there's a learning out of this, guys, make sure you're properly insured.
Yep.
You don't realize how badly you need it until you need it, right?
Yeah.
So there's some great insurers out there. Let's call out a couple, and by no means do we get a referral for this. But these are some of the good guys that we deal with on a regular basis. I think NRMA have always been great, Mark. Would you agree?
NRMA, great. Chubb are probably the most expensive, but probably the most comprehensive Chubb insurance. The Terry Shearer insurance is excellent because they are specific to the real estate industry. We've made claims with every single insurance provider, and Terry Shearer get it the most, understand the situation, the setup, the structure the most. Without getting against preferring them, but
you can over-insure there as well, guys. So you can, and by no means are we, we're not insurance brokers and we're not insurance experts. You should rely on your own investigations.
We can double insure. People often double or triple insure themselves without realising. Yeah,
Yeah.
so with for instance, with car insurance, sorry, hire car insurance when you're traveling, sometimes your Visa or Mastercard covers that, and then you're paying insurance on top, and then there's like another layer of insurance for excess or whatever it is. So just be careful, and don't forget that within the strata building, that you will not have contents, but you will automatically have building insurance in a strata building because that's what your strata levies are
Yeah.
for.
Yeah, but that won't cover you guys for things like TVs, rugs. I
No.
think even floor coverings, Mark, comes under home and
Wall
contents,
coverings
things
and
like
content.
carpet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So just be careful, guys. It's not a lot of money. I mean, Angie, again, our one of our senior property managers was saying, you know what, for the cost of a couple of $100 a year, something as small as that, you can actually make sure that you're covered. So they're the ones that we recommend. Chubb, obviously, are the ants pants. NRMA have always just been your stock standard. You know, you're in good hands there. And then there's, I think it's Terry Shear, Mark, TERRI,
Yeah.
Terry Shear landlord insurance. So look those up. But yeah, definitely make sure you're insured.
Sure. Yeah.
You just, yeah, you're putting your own spin on that. Speaking of putting your own spin on stuff, we have to address Shane Warne.
Yes. Oh, nice segue, Lise.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I can't work out, Mark. I've never watched cricket in my life, and I cannot work out why this. I feel so emotional about this.
Do you?
I just can't I can't understand it. Like, I think he was one of Australia's sweethearts. You know, I think whether you were into cricket or you weren't into cricket, everyone loved Shane Warne. He was your typical true blue Aussie, the quintessential Aussie, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's
Yeah.
why the sports
What Aussie stood
person,
for.
yeah. And we had our own meetings with him.
Yep.
What,
But he was a
you know,
bit,
and what a
like
top guy.
if you like think about like and having a bit of like being a bit lighthearted about it, like he was sort of everything that an Aussie, like he could, he was a family man, he was a phenomenal sportsman, he was a fun guy. He was like he was sort of like, yeah, I don't know, the perfect
I
Australian.
think he was, yeah, but I
Sort of,
think it was the perfect balance of sugar and spice and all things nice.
yeah,
Like he was all the right, he was all the right ingredients. You know, he was a little bit naughty, he was a little bit nice, he was,
yeah,
you know, a little bit sporty. You know, wouldn't mind having a drink. But he was an all-round nice guy. We went to a poker tournament down in Melbourne at the Crown. This is going back many years ago in 2012.
yeah,
Um, I agree, Jonathan. An average kid from an ordinary family who did good. That's exactly right. I think it sums it up perfectly. But we had the pleasure of meeting him back in 2012. We were at a poker function. There wasn't that many of us. There was only maybe 30 of us there. And we spent the day with him. What a legend of a guy. You know, he
yeah,
couldn't have been any nicer. He couldn't have been more of a gentleman. Couldn't have been any more fun. And I think, you know, that's I'm seeing that in everything that I read, that everyone's saying those same things about him. But then you add to that the fact that the guy was only 52, you know, like that's not far off from where I am right now. And that kind of, you think the sports person, like, what the hell? How
yeah.
does that happen to that guy?
And it happens
But
to
yeah,
blokes
our
more than
hearts
it
go
does
out
to
to,
girls. Do you reckon it happens to guys more than girls? Like
I think,
early?
what, heart attacks?
Yeah, like you don't seem to hear of girls much going in the 40s and 50s as much as guys. Is that just me?
Yeah. No, I think so. But look, I think different things happen. You know, obviously there's other evils like cancer and things like that. But you know, look, it is a real tragedy as well. So you know, we just wanted to send our deepest condolences out to his family and friends. Obviously, a lot of people have been affected there as well.
What a
Um,
week! What a week!
what a week! What a week! Seriously, International Women's Day. Let's talk about something really bright. Um,
It's fantastic.
been
I
heavily
love women.
promoted.
Yeah,
You'd want to. You're
yeah.
surrounded by them, Mark. There's 3 in your family.
It's very international. And I'm thinking about an International Men's Day.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
What will you represent, Mark? How will that
Barbecue.
be best represented?
Barbies, meat, sport, and
Wood chopping.
wood chopping, and just hanging out with your mates,
I
on
think
that
it's a
day.
great idea. That sounds like
Yeah.
most weekends.
Yeah.
But it was a
Excellent.
big day. It was a big day, and it was a big celebration for women. And there were, a few different themes going around. I was asked to make comment on a few different articles, which was an absolute honour. But I have to say that women have come a really long way in the workforce. A really long way in the
Yep.
workforce. Particularly in real
Long
estate.
way.
This was a man's
Huge.
world, not so many years ago. So but what I took away from it, there was something that I read, and I thought it was a really lovely thing that someone had written, and it was about as you grow up, you look at someone like Oprah and think, I wish I could be as powerful as her, or you look at someone like Elle Macpherson and wish that you had the body of a supermodel. But as you grow older, and maybe it's just I don't know, you just start to accept for you, being who you are. You start to realize that just try to be the best version of yourself. And I know that sounds a little bit cliche, but as you get older, and I turned 50 this year, Mark, as you know,
Still can't believe it.
I
You
still
look
can't
so
believe it
young.
myself. But I think you start to realize that just being the best version of yourself is the most important thing. It really is. And you're not going to, not everyone needs to love you, and that's okay. And you might not be the tallest or the skinniest or the smartest or the most courageous, and that's okay. You start to become a lot more accepting of yourself. And I think there's a really big message there, especially for a lot of the younger women. We see it ourselves, Mark, with our own girls. There's so much pressure these days, not just on women, but on younger people.
There's a lot of pressure, but it is a beautiful day. It's a happy day, and International Women's Day done. Also, another thing, Lise, my
Yes.
friend Bruno Scalaccio did a video
What a
for us this
legend.
week,
He's
and I
amazing.
just want to, as a shout out on Friday Frenzy, Bruno, who I did an interview yesterday with on my socials. He's 95 years of age. He still turns up to work 6 days a week, 9 to 5. At the age of 95, he's done this consistently his whole life. Although it was probably those hours more like 14, 16-hour days when he was
Yeah.
under 70. Invested
But Mark,
into
people
property
need to
like a
watch that.
champion. It's
People
great.
need to watch that interview. We watched it together again last night. I loved every single one. I love the way he calls you Mr. Novak. He is the kindest, nicest, smartest, savviest man you'll ever meet.
And you know what you said about being the best you? Like,
Yes.
this is the guy that's got, he probably hasn't had to turn up to work since he was 40. But that's not what drove him. What drove him was doing the right thing for the family. It was really funny. He was the best version. He is the best version of
He's
himself.
the pin-up boy.
And it confuses people, because people go, mate, if I had what he had, like, why would I go to work? And it really confuses people. Actually, even it sometimes annoys people. It's like, why? I would never do that. And he said to me, like when we were talking yesterday, he said, some people like poker machines. This is my poker machine. Do you know what I mean? He said, him there sitting, he's got a little shop, which is a flag shop, fixes shoes, sells flags.
It's like a disposal store, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a little bit like a disposal store.
He used to work at Central Station fixing shoes as a cobber, and he did that for a very, very, very long time in a 2x2 metre squared box, and made a living, and a beautiful living from it. But talk about a guy that
what a legend. But guys, watch that. He's had a hard life, but watch that interview. He's an absolute legend. He's the real mayor of DY. But Mark, I've got a quick question for you. With all the floods that have taken place, not just on the northern beaches, but right around the eastern coast, what do you think that's going to do for property? Because obviously we were seeing a lot of sea change, tree change. Do you think people are going to reconsider their plans?
I think it caught a lot of people by surprise. I know we had family that were bought in an area, didn't even think about it, north of New South Wales. I think it caught a lot of people by surprise. I think people now are warned to sort of consider that when they buy something. Make sure people are warned to make sure they're insured for those sort of circumstances. And I think to answer your question directly, I think they're going to reduce those property prices in those areas. But I probably think that's okay because you are buying low, and when you sell it in 10, 20, 30 years, you're selling low, but you're following the same trajectory of property growth that the fabulous, the non-floodable areas are following. So, if they're going to double in 10 years, an area like Lismore, whether you're buying in a flood-prone Lismore area or a non-flood-prone Lismore area, they're still going to follow the same trajectory.
Yeah.
You will buy that flood-prone for cheaper.
Yes, I tend to agree. I think it has thrown a little bit of a spanner in the works. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. And look, people and people do forget quickly. Not to say that this is an event that people are going to forget easily, but they do. Right now, it's very raw, and we have been impacted. So don't think for a moment that we don't understand. We have. It's still very raw, but if we fast forward in 6 months' time, people do tend to forget. It's going to be interesting anyway. Watch this space. It'll be very interesting to see what's going to happen. It has been quieter this week with listings and sales, but I think people have just been consumed, right? I do believe that. It'll be interesting to see what happens tomorrow.
Sure. I completely understand that. And yeah.
Yes, that's it. I reckon that's a wrap. What do you think?
Like we're done. Thank you very much, Lisa Novak, and everyone have a great weekend. Hopefully the rains will stay away.
Good luck to our daughter who's going for her L's today, by the way. She's going to kill me for saying that.
Good luck to Jade.
Good luck to our daughter.
And good luck to the people that need to fix these potholes in the road.
Oh, God, they're shocking. They're shocking. Be careful, guys. It is a bit of a war zone out there. Take care. See you guys.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.